I love this burger. It's so delicious. One of the best burgers I've ever had. In my universe, this place closed 6 years ago.
Are you wondering if there are any toxins in your food? Are they really that safe to eat? In this video, I'm going to explain what toxins are, discuss some common symptoms caused by toxins in our food, and talk about how we can avoid the 5 most common toxins in your food. 20 years ago, as a new mom, my infant had terrible bleeding total body eczema. His pediatrician ran out of ideas, but my baby still had horrible skin. And as a mom, I just didn't give up. Because as a physician, I knew eczema was a gateway to asthma and autoimmune diseases. I began to massively restrict my diet and eventually learned that my son was actually allergic to the chicken I was eating that ended up in my breast milk. That's when I began to look into the safety of our food. So let's start with the definition of toxins. Toxins are chemicals that can be natural or man-made, and they are basically poisonous to your body. They are found in the earth and in organisms such as plants and animals. You are all exposed to toxins every day, and if you accumulate a high enough dose, it will stress your body and potentially can cause you disease. Now, let me give you an example. This is called a man-made chemical, PFAS, polyfluorinated substances. PFAS are a group of forever chemicals that never degrades, it never gets broken down, and it can cause immune system dysfunction, autoimmune diseases, disrupt your endocrine system, and increase your risk of getting cancer. Does that sound bad? Well, it absolutely is, and this is why you need to avoid PFAS that contaminate your food and water. So here are 3 ways to avoid PFAS. Number 1, avoid fast food that's especially greasy because they come in carry-out containers that are contaminated with PFAS. Number 2, avoid microwave popcorn bags as they are coated with PFAS chemicals inside. And number 3, avoid PTFE nonstick pans. Now, PFAS has been in your food supply since the late 1930s, and the FDA only began testing for it in 2019. They found at that time 10 out of 532 samples of fresh and processed foods had detectable levels of PFAS. Mind you, acceptable level is 0. The CDC now believes everyone has measurable levels of PFAS in our blood. That means you and I and our children have PFAS. So obviously 532 samples is not enough considering that the average supermarket carries over 40,000 products. Symptoms of PFAS toxicity can range from mild symptoms of asthma to getting cancer. So this is why prevention and avoiding PFAS in your food is very important. Number 2, I mentioned some toxins are naturally found in the earth and in plants and animals. One example is arsenic. It's a highly toxic inflammatory chemical that can contaminate your water and your food. High levels of arsenic in the soil is a result of industrial waste, which end up concentrated in the animals you are eating, especially in the liver, seafood, and it can be concentrated in certain plants like rice. And actually, farmers purposely feed arsenic to animals like chickens, turkeys, and pigs to make them gain weight. The FDA tested 910 commonly consumed foods and found that the foods with the highest arsenic is actually fish, with cod leading the pack at about 5,000 parts per billion. For reference, white rice has 45 parts per billion, and I try to avoid rice for this reason. Processed rice is even worse, and baby food cereal rice had even higher arsenic concentrations at 109 parts per billion. Yeah, I fed this to my babies too. Now I don't eat fish, and I avoid processed grains because of toxins like arsenic. The first symptoms of arsenic poisoning is seen in strange pigmentation in your skin, especially in your palms and sole, and long-term exposure can cause cancers, diabetes, lung and heart disease. Now, the FDA would recall prescriptions if it had any arsenic, but Americans eat 1 million chickens an hour, and some have replaced fish for chicken. So this is one more reason amongst lots of other reasons that what I've been describing in my videos is to minimize animal products and processed foods, especially these foods. Avoid seafood and then avoid processed foods, especially processed rice. Number 3, lead was banned in paint since 1978. But there's actually still lead in your food, and it's sold on the market. Really, there's no acceptable level for lead. Lead poisoning causes anemia, dementia, seizures, fatigue, irritability, headaches, stomach cramps, constipation, muscle and joint pain, poor sleep, and libido. So here are our top 3 food groups with high amounts of lead as tested by the FDA. Number 1, processed foods. This regular canned corn had no detectable lead level, but this ground up processed cornbread did. Now, baby food had even higher detectable lead levels than adult food. Really, that's not acceptable. And do you like chocolate? I used to. Unfortunately, unless there are better international farming practices, this cacao bean sucks up a ton of industrial pollutants from the soil and then mixed with air pollutants. You may want to source your chocolate from a tiny island, maybe Hawaii. You know, highly processed ingredients with chemical additives are really sauces. And this barbecue sauce and low ranch sauce had the highest amount of lead of all the sauces tested by the FDA. Number 4, the FDA is supposed to regulate the food in the store, but they can't regulate how you cook it. Did you know you are making your own carcinogens whenever you cook with dry heat, especially when you cook meat? You make HCAs, heterocyclic amines, which are linked to colon, breast, and prostate cancer. To me, it seems pretty obvious why colon cancer is happening at an alarming rate in people in their 30s and 40s. We have a national addiction to protein that is grilled, seared, baked, pan-fried, or deep-fried. I mean, these just sound like ways to get sick. In medicine, we can screen you for cancer. That means you already have it. If you are 45 years old or older, you should get cancer screening. But wouldn't you rather not have cancer? That's called prevention. Screening doesn't do that. Prevention is found in your lifestyle, and what you do every day has a greater impact on your health than what we can do as your physicians. Symptoms of colon cancer include the change in bowel habits, unexplained weight loss, maybe some blood in your toilet. I had a friend who was throwing up, lost 20 pounds in a month, but refused to get help until he couldn't stand up. And when he went to the emergency room, he had stage 3 colon cancer. Luckily, he made it, but he lost part of his colon. Your goal should be to prevent cancer. The first step is to avoid heterocyclic amines. And here are 3 ways to do it. Number 1, just avoid eating meat like poultry, fish, and animal products. And if you have to eat them, use moist heat to cook them, like boiling, steaming, or pressure cooking, instead of grilling, frying, baking, broiling, barbecuing with that high dry heat. I know it's delicious, but it's really not nutritious. Number 5, people I know worry a lot about pesticides like the weed killer Roundup, which is toxic to your gut microbiome and messes with your immunity. Glyphosate, the main ingredient in Roundup, is the world's most widely used weed killer and deemed by the World Health Organization as likely to cause cancer. Over 4.5 billion pounds of this weed killer is used by farmers. That means it's probably in your processed food, like bread. Even if you can afford to buy organic, this stuff contaminates water and is linked to causing drug-resistant bacteria that is spreading all around the world. This is not theoretical, folks. As an infectious disease doctor, I see untreatable infectious diseases due to drug-resistant bacteria. And when you get in an accident, when you get sick, or when your children get sick, you should be concerned you won't have effective antibiotics to use. Drug-resistant bacteria affect everyone, and it's contaminating your food. And when you eat glyphosate, it actually disturbs your own bacteria, your gut microbiome, leading to serious health issues, including chronic diseases like leaky gut, inflammation, and bad metabolism. Roundup, now owned by Bayer Pharmaceuticals, the company that makes aspirin, has settled so far, I think, about 10 billion in health-related lawsuits. It will take all of us to give the farmers and food manufacturers a strong message to stop using glyphosate. You are literally what you eat. Good quality nutrients feed your immune system to defend your body and to help your body repair itself against toxins. Toxins cause your body stress, but it's really the dose over time that matters. So going forward, choose better ingredients to allow your body to heal. I hope this video was helpful. If you like this video, see you at the next one.